fixed form factor, modular chassis, Qumran-MX, Jericho, Jericho Plus, Jericho 2, 10, 25, 100, 400 gig with breakout cable or QSA, routing scale, timing, MACsec, etc., etc., etc. The NTS 5500 family have seen addition of a lot of new members during the last 3 years. In September 2019, we have now 12 fixed routers, 3 modular chassis and 11 line cards. Today, we'll spend time on the NCS 5500 portfolio and we'll try to clarify all possible confusion. My name is Nicolas Février and I present regularly a deep dive on NCS 5500 at Cisco Live all around the world. This year, it appeared clearly that I was talking to two very different categories of audience. Some customers are extremely advanced in their understanding of the internal mechanisms used on these products, and they have deployed and operated them for many years. Some others are still struggling with different options offered by so many variations of the product. They are mixing the chipsets, the features, the scale, the port density, etc. This video targets this second category. It will be a long presentation, but we will split it in multiple sections. And if you are only interested in just one of them, take a look at the shortcuts in the description below. Today we'll talk about the different ASICs powering each system, the different port types natively available, the port density, but also the alternative options, the FIB scale, the support of specific features like MACsec or timing. We'll take different angles to answer most of your questions regarding the NCS 5500 family. Every time you hear me say -SC, it means the ASIC is completed by an external TCAM or eTCAM. Each NPU is equipped with internal memories, LEM, LPM, FEC or EEDB, to list the most famous ones. The eTCAM is an optional resource used for additional routing scale and classifiers. You cannot add this eTCAM afterwards. It's not a field replaceable part. In a -SC card or system, it's integrated in the PCB. Okay, let's take a look at the portfolio. The fixed form factor platforms. We should start explaining the logic behind the naming of these boxes. NCS 55 represents the family. Then we have a third number or letter describing the internal ASIC. Today's options are 0 and A. 0 if we are using Jericho or Qumran-MX. A if the box is using Jericho Plus. The letter Y here represents the rack units. Today it's only 1 or 2. What comes afterward is describing the number of interfaces or modules. 36H is 36 port 100 gig, 48Q for 48 ports 25 gig. Mod is for the modular systems with MPA. Then we have the potential -SE if we are using an external TCAM. And finally the -S is for MACsec capable system. Let's review these routers. NCS 5501 and 5501 SC, 1 rack unit, 40 or 48 ports SFP, 1 gig or 10 gig, and also 4 or 8 port QSFP for 40, 4x10 or 100 gig optics. It's powered by a single Qumran-MX NPU. The non-SC 5501 is slightly oversubscribed. NCS 5502 and 5502 SC, 2RU, 48 QSFP cages here, twice the size in terms of rack units, but 6 times more bandwidth and no native SFP ports. Powered by 8 Jericho NPUs interconnected with 2 Fabric Engine FE3600. NCS 55A1 36HS and 36HSCS, 1RU, 36 ports, that's 3.6 terabit per second, supporting MACsec and powered by 4 Jericho Plus NPUs and a single FE3600. NCS 55A1 24H, smaller version with 24 QSFP, no external TCAM, but with an internal memory that places it between the SC and the non-SC systems. No MACsec and a small oversubscription in terms of bandwidth. Powered by 2 Jericho Plus with large LPM connected back to back. NCS 55A2 mode, first 40 port SFP fixed, and a third of them can also be used at 25 gig. Of course, all can do 1 or 10 gig. These ports are fixed and present in the bottom part. Above them we have 2 bays, optionally populated by MPAs. These modular port adapters will offer 1/10 gig SFP, 100 gig gray qsfp, or 100 to 200 gig CFP2 ports. The NCS55A2 mode exists in multiple versions, scale or not, hardened, or with conformal coating. All are powered by a single Jericho Plus, and it's also slightly oversubscribed. The NCS55A2 24Q6HS, yes, 1RU 48-port SFP, half of them capable of 25 gig, all can support of course 1 and 10 gig, plus 6-port QSFP, it's slightly oversubscribed, powered by a single Jericho Plus. NCS55A1 48Q6H looks very much like the former one, but this time all ports are 25 gig capable and the MPUs are not oversubscribed. Powered by a pair of Jericho Plus with large LPM and connected back-to-back. Regarding the chassis and the line cards, we have a large number of options too. We offer 4-slot, 8-slot and 16-slot chassis. In the front, the route processors. We have 2 generations, RP and RPE. The second one is mandatory if you want to enable timing features. Also, it consumes slightly less power. Otherwise, they are pretty similar. By the way, no idea why you would like to do something like this, but we don't support a mix of RP and RPE. It is not advised to use only one RP, even if I know customers doing it. But to guarantee process redundancy, NSF, NSR features, etc., you will need one active and one standby RP. In the back, we have 2 system controllers. A single generation exists, and here also we recommend to run the 2 of them in the system. Also in the back, we have the fan trays. 2 versions are available. The V2 is mandatory if you insert V2 fabric cards, and they are also necessary for 400 gig Ethernet line cards. Between the fan trays and the line card, we have the fabric cards. Here also we have 2 generations. Version 1 can be used for all line cards based on Jericho and Jericho Plus ASICs. Version 2 are mandatory to support Jericho 2 based line cards. That's the 400 gig Ethernet ones. Of course, they are backward compatible and support all other existing line cards. Fabric cards and fan trays must be matched with the same generation, V1 with V1, V2 with V2. It's even written on it. You may be interested in V2 fabric cards and fan trays for multiple reasons. First, of course, to prepare the insertion of 400 gig Ethernet. Second, they consume a bit less power, so it could be beneficial from an OpEx perspective. You can mix and match all different types of line cards. 36H non-SC, that was the very first card we shipped in December 2015. 36-port QSFP that can be used with QSFP-28 optics for 100 gig or with QSFP Plus 4x10G breakout. Powered by 6 Jericho ASICs, no eTCAM, only the internal memories. 24HSC. The second line card introduced on the market with 24 ports QSFP, a lower density compared to the former card, but this time with external TCAM, so it presents a larger routing scale. Internally, we have 4 Jericho NPUs. Then we launched the combo cards, 18H, 18F and 24H, 12F SC. They are 40 gig line cards by default, and it's possible to upgrade from 40 gig to 100 gig on half of the port on the first one and 2/3 of the port on the second. Those cards have been used extensively to upgrade backbone smoothly from 10 gig to 100 gig. They are powered by 3 and 4 Jericho NPUs respectively. We also introduced a MACsec card which is very similar to the first 36-port 100 gig with additional L2 encryption capability. It supports line rate encryption with no impact on performance. At the same time, we also add an IP over DWDM card with 6 ports CFP2 in the portfolio. It was the first card with ports non-QSFP. We have here CFP2 port ACO. ACO means the DSP is located on the line card and not inside the optics. The card is powered by 2 Jericho ASICs. Then the first Jericho Plus line cards have been introduced. 36 ports QSFP with extended scale. Since a Jericho Plus ASIC can forward 400 gigabit per second, we only need 4 of them for the same port density, and we have now more room for external TCAM. Also, we can use a second generation for eTCAM that extend the routing scale to more than 4 million prefixes v4. The next 2 cards are following the same logic than the 55A2 mode. They offer 12 fixed ports SFP, 2 fixed port qsfp+, so 40 gig, and 2 bays for MPAs and 400 gig each, and exist in both SC and non-SC versions. Finally, we recently announced 2 new line cards with qsfp-dd ports for 400 gigabit Ethernet. They are also the first cards powered by 2 Jericho 2 NPUs, and they exist with or without eTCAM with different port density. If you want more details, we have a dedicated video on this topic too. That's a lot, and I agree that could be confusing. So let's try to clarify all these options now and take different parameters to categorize them. Let's get started with the forwarding ASICs. I will call them alternatively ASICs or NPUs. In this context, these subtleties are not relevant. We use the DNX products in the NCS 5500 family. They are produced by Broadcom and they exist in multiple flavors and multiple architectures. Standalone, leaf and spine, back-to-back, and even mesh, but we are not using this option in any of our products. They are made of 2 cores for most of them, with the exception of the Qumran-MX used in NCS 540 and the Jericho 2C we plan to use in the near future. Very logically, packets are received in the ingress pipeline and they will always exit the router through the egress pipeline. They are made of blocks and sub-blocks, each one having a specific role in the packet processing and the queue management. Each block has access to multiple resources where it can read and write a certain amount of times. Everything gives a very predictable performance, regardless of the features we apply or the fib size. As long as a packet does not recirculate, the number of packets per second will be consistent. It's a significant difference compared to run-to-completion or similar type of ASICs. Quick note, the ASIC used in the NCS 5000s are also produced by Broadcom, but they are different from the one in the NCS 500 and NCS 5500. In the 5000s, we use XGS products, with a very high bandwidth and port density, but lower routing scale and significantly smaller buffer. Back to the pipelines. For both ingress and egress, we will have 2 large blocks, one for the packet processing, destination lookup and all the features like filters, net flows, etc., and the other for traffic management, covering the QoS and packet scheduling, among other things. The packets are stored in different places. It could be inside the ASIC most of the time, but also it could be on an external buffer in certain congestion situations. I invite you to check this video here if you want to get into the details of the packet buffering mechanisms. Qumran-MX, Jericho, Jericho Plus are using GDDR5 memory, and this graphical memory is often referred to as DRAM. With Jericho 2 we will use HBM, which is like a directly connected memory if you want. These packets memory are just here. They are not optional, so it's not a significant parameter we will use to differentiate the products between each other. It's not the case for external eTCAM. These optional memories are here to extend the resource present inside the chipsets. We are not storing packets in these internal databases, but only information, routes, labels, next stop addresses, load balancing information, encapsulation, adjacency, counters, and much more. The external eTCAM will increase the scale for routing and classifiers, and even counters in the latest NPUs. In our portfolio, Qumran-MX is used only in the NCS 5501. Note, it is also used in access products like the NCS 560, but there are some differences. Packet memory first, it's GDDR5 for 5501, while it's DDR4 in the 560. Then eTCAM, we use NL12K for 5501, and they use Optimus Prime for the 560. We are not using Jericho ASICs in standalone mode, but we have many products using Jericho NPUs interconnected through Fabric Engine FE3600. For example, in the 5502s. And they are also present in the line cards, like the 36x100 non-SE, the 24x100 SE, the 2 combo card, the MACsec card, and the coherent 6-port CFP2. The Jericho Plus in standalone mode is used in 55A2 mode, fixed systems, and in the 55A2 24Q6HS. Also, we use them in back-to-back mode in the 55A1 24H and the 55A148Q6H with a large LPM version. We use Jericho Plus in leaf and spine mode, interconnected with FE3600 in the 55A136H SC or non-SC, and in the 36x100 SC line cards, but also in the modular line cards. Finally, the Jericho 2 are only used today in the 400 gig line cards, and they are interconnected through a new generation of fabric engines named FE9600 or Ramon. Okay, is it getting a bit clearer? Well, at least I hope so. Don't hesitate to take a look at the blog post on xrdocs.io. You will find this chart here. It's a very good summary. Let's try another angle to differentiate these products. This time it will be based on the type of ports they support. It's actually a vast topic, and we have a very convenient matrix to track what kind of interface is supported per product and release. It goes in a lot of details. To summarize, the NCS 5500 routers offer SFP, QSFP and CFP2 port slots, depending on the model. I would like to differentiate the port or the cage and the optics or the modules. The first is hosting the second. For example, in a QSFP port, I can insert a QSFP28 module for 100 gig or 4x25, or a QSFP Plus for 40 gig or 4x10, or a QSA for 1 gig or 10 gig. Some QSFP cages are able of QSFP Plus for 100 gig only, while others are more capable supporting higher speeds, 100 gig, or lower speed like 10 gig via an adapter. What I really mean to say here is that optics are defining the speed, but the cage could limit the type of optics you can insert. One last comment before going through the options. Naming of the port. All the ports are described with 2 letters, then a series of 4 or 5 numbers. The letters describe the interface type. HU for 100 gig, FO for 40, TF for 25, TE for 10. The first number describes the chassis. Since we don't support multi-chassis in the NCS 5500 family, it will always be 0. The second number represents a slot in the chassis. It starts from 0 on the top and increases slot by slot to the bottom. On a fixed system, it will always be 0. The third number is for the MPS slot only, so it will be NCS 55A2 mode and the mode line cards. The fixed port will be 0 and the 2 MPAs will be 1 and 2. The fourth number represents the port. It starts from left to right, beginning at 0. Finally, the last digit is optional and only used with breakout cables, from 0 to 3. Let's start from the largest interfaces available and go smaller and smaller. First, the 400 gig. They will be available via qsfp-dd ports. Today, it's on these 2 line cards only. Breakout from 400 to 100 gig could be challenging, since you need a specific PAM400 gig technology on the other side. On the NC5524DD card, all the ports are 400 gig capable. On the NC5518DDSC, it's a bit more complicated, so I invite you to check the video appearing here. 200 gig with qsfp-dd28 instead of 56 will support 200 gig and breakout of twice 100 gig, but compatible with existing SR4, LR4 and CWDM4 technologies. You can insert these optics in all the ports of the 24DD and the 18DDSC. Some limitations exist. They are all described in the blog post we published with the former video. 100 gigabit Ethernet will be supported on QSFP ports with 2 notable exceptions, that the IP over DWDM ports and the breakout of QSFP-dd28 that could offer twice 100 gig. But on all others, it will be with QSFP28 optics. The NCS 5501 have 6 port QSFP on the right part of the front. Note that this box is oversubscribed by design. So among the 6 ports, we can forward only 400 gig at the same time, since they are connected to a single core of the Qumran-MX. The NCS 5500 SC, it's 4 ports on the right and no oversubscription. By the way, if I don't mention it, it means the router is not oversubscribed. NCS 5502 SC or non-SC, we have 48 ports that can receive QSFP28 modules. NCS 55A136H, SC or non-SC, it's the same logic. We have 36 ports, all of them ready for QSFP28. NCS 55A124H, here again it's very simple. 24 ports, all 100 gig capable. We have an oversubscription ratio of 12 to 9 here. 55A1 24Q6H offers 6 ports on the right and some other subscription here too. 55A1 48Q6H, we have 6 ports on the right but not oversubscribed this time. And finally, the NCS 55A2 mode variants. 100 gig is available with the MPAs. This 4x100 gig gray port and the combo card 2x100 plus 200 gig DWDM. The 200 gig CFP2 DCO can be used at 100 gig too, but of course it's IP over DWDM here and not gray. In the line cards we have 36x100 SC or non-SC, the MACsec line card. All the 36 ports are 100 gig capable. Same for the 24x100 gig SC. All the 24 ports support QSFP modules. In the combo card, only a portion of the ports can be used with qsfp-dd optics. They are identified with a green on the front plate. Half of the port for the 18H18F and 2/3 of the ports on the 24H12F SC. On the DWDM card, we support 200 gig, 150 and 100 gig, but of course here no gray ports, only coherent. On this one we only support CFP2 SCO optics. On the modular line card we have QSFP ports on the right part, but they are only QSFP plus 40 gig capable, not 100 gig. For QSFP-28 it's only via the MPAs and the same modules described earlier. Finally, you can also insert QSFP-28 optics in the 24DD and 18DD SC cards. From the same ports you can also potentially break out to 4x 25 gig Ethernet, but we will come back on this topic in a couple of minutes since there are some limitations. Regarding the 40 gig options, it's very simple. On all the routers and LAN cards, not all QSFP cages are QSFP-28 capable, but the support of QSFP Plus is general. Here again, we'll come back on this with more details in the 10 gig section, but keep in mind these ports can be broken in 4x 10 gig SR and LR. Now, let's cover the 25 gigabit Ethernet. The first option we have is via native SFP28 ports. We don't support them on the 5501 or 5501 SC, but we do on all the SFP ports of the 55A1 48Q6H and half of the ports of the 24Q6HS. They are identified in yellow on the front panel. And finally, on the 16 last SFP fixed ports of the NCS 55A2 mode. Note that the MPA with SFP ports are only 1 gig and 10 gig capable, so don't support SFP28. On the 3 routers I just listed, the ports are activated in block of 4. Something we call quad. By default, the ports are configured in 25 gig mode. You can see it on the CLI output with the latest TF used to describe the interface position. If you insert a 1 gig or 10 gig optic, it will not be recognized. You need to configure the quad in 10 gig mode. That makes a block of 4 ports now 1 gig and 10 gig capable. That also implies you can only plug an SFP and SFP Plus on these 4 ports, but no longer SFP28 optics. It's something important to understand to properly plan your port allocation. The second option for 25 gig Ethernet is a breakout. We only support it on the systems and LAN cards powered by Jericho Plus NPUs. Not Jericho, not Qumran-MX. So it will be on the 55A1 36H, SC non-SC, on the 55A1 24H, on the 55A1 24Q and 48Q6H, on the 55A2 mode with the 4x100 gig MPAs. On the line card side, it will be on the 36x100 gig SC and on the mode with the same MPAs. Now let's talk about 10 gig ports. All SFP slots support SFP plus 10 gig optics. Natively, the 55A1s, SC or not, offers 40 and 48 ports respectively. Note that we don't support high power optics on the 55A1 non-SC. We do support them on the SC version, but only on the specific ports identified in purple. By high power, I mean 3.5 watts, like ZR or DWDM. On the 55A2, 24Q and 48Q6H, we have 48 ports SFP. On the 55A2 mode, it's 40 ports fixed. That can be completed by 2 MPAs of 12 ports each. So potentially up to 64 ports 10 gig. On the line card side, 10 gig is only available on the mod ones that have 12 fixed ports, but also you can complete them with 2 MPAs of 12 ports for a total of 36 SFP+. The second option is to use breakout cables with qsfp+, 4 by 10 gig optics. Certain ports, like SR4, can be both 40 gig and 4 by 10 gig natively. We just need a specific cable and the appropriate configuration to enable it. There is no limitation on the breakout. They don't need to be grouped in blocks of contiguous ports. The configuration doesn't require a reload or a reset of the card. You can add them to bundles and they support QoS as individual interfaces. A third option is to offer 10 gig via QSA. It stands for QSFP to SFP adapter. As the name implies, it permits SFP and SFP+ ports inserted in a QSFP cage. It seems to be a waste of resource at first glance, 90% or even 99%. But it makes a lot of sense if you consider the cost to acquire and operate an extra device for just a couple of 1 gig and 10 gig ports. Also, it could be your only solution if you need a reach longer than 40 kilometers. The speed could be seen as an acceptable trade-off over long dark fiber. We support QSA on the following line cards: 36 by 100 gig SC and non-SC, 24 by 100 gig SC, 24H 12F SC combo card, but we don't support it on the 18H 18F, the MACsec card, or the DD line cards. On the pizza box, we support it on the 5502 and SC, the 55A136H SC, and the 55A124H. Take a close look at the compatibility matrix since some subtleties are present, like the non-support of -S optics or some systems not supporting ZR or ER. What about 1 gig Ethernet? Well, here there is too many variations between the native SFP ports, the QSA options, so I prefer the lazy approach and I will point you to the matrix. It will be much easier and faster. One thing I should mention, certainly obvious, but since I got the questions many times, it is worth reminding that you cannot get 1 gig behind a QSFP+ breakout. It is only 10 gig Ethernet. Also, 2 quick exceptions that could be of interest regarding the 1 gig. On the 5501 SC router, the ports 0A to 015 don't support Fast Ethernet Copper SFP modules, GLCT, and we don't support AutoNeg on the 1 gig optical SFP. Other ports support 1 gig with AutoNeg and Fast Ethernet speeds, and no limitations on the 48 ports of the 5501. The second exception to keep in mind, in the 12 SFP ports MPA, only 8 do support 1 gig. It's not available in ports 4 to 7. That's it for the type of ports available on the NCS 5500. Are you still with me? Let's try to compare now the different options based on the routing scale. So, a quick reminder first. The routing information is stored in different places inside and outside the NPU. Inside the Jericho, Qumran-MX and Jericho Plus, we have 2 memories used to store prefixes, the LEM and the LPM. The LEM is used for exact match of a certain prefix length. It can store up to 784,000 routes. The LPM is used for variable length match and exists in 2 flavors. In some Jericho and Jericho Plus, it can store more or less 350,000 routes. But in some variant of Jericho Plus, it can store more or less 1.5 million routes. So I say more or less because it's directly dependent on the prefix distribution. A third place can be used to store routing tables, the external eTCAM. Yes, that's the eTCAM present on the -E systems and line card that we talked about. In Jericho, the external eTCAM can store 2 million extra V4 prefixes. In Jericho Plus, it's a different eTCAM that can handle 4 million V4 routes. So the route will be stored in LEM, LPM, and or eTCAM, depending on the type of cards, but also depending on the address family and the prefix length. When we claim 1.5 million or 2.75 million routes, it actually represents the sum of all the memory capabilities if the tables were defined ideally to occupy all the space available. So we can sort now the platform based on their routing capability. First level, 1 million prefixes, split in 784K in LEM and around 350K in LPM. That's the scale for NCS 5501, 55A136H, 55A2 mode, 55A124Q6H, and the line card, 36 by 100 gig non-eTCAM, 36 by 100 gig MACsec, 18H 18F, 6 by 200 gig IP over DWDM, eTCAM, and finally the modular LC non-eTCAM. 2.2 million prefixes. That's the second level, split in 784K in LEM and around 1.5 million in LPM. That's the scale we can get on the 55A124H and the 55A148Q6H. Third level, 2.75 to 3 million prefixes, split in 784K in LEM, 160K IPv6 in LPM, and 2 million IPv4 in LEM. That's a Jericho with eTCAM systems like the 5501SC, 5502SC, and the line cards 24 by 100 gig SC and 24H 12F SC. Last level, 4 million prefixes, all moved to the eTCAM. That's the Jericho Plus systems with external TCAM, like the pizza boxes, 55A136H SC, 55A2 Mode SC, or the line card, 36 by 100 gig SC, and the modular 1 SC. Okay, do you want another angle? Let's try a different way to classify the routers, and we can pick the features requiring specific hardware. For example, MACsec. It's not supported on the 5501 or 5502, but it's on the 55A2 mode. MACsec is available on the fixed ports from 23 to 39, but not on the first 23. It is also supported in all the MPA ports. We don't have MACsec on the 55A124H, but it is on all the ports of the 55A136H, SC or not. On the 55A124Q6H, MACsec is available on the last 16 SFP ports, and on the 48Q6H, MACsec is only available on the qsfp ports. On the line cards, we have it only on the 36 by 100 gig MACsec, the 6-port 200 gig IP over DWDM, and the modular line cards. On the last ones, it's both on the fixed ports and on the MPA ports. Finally, it is not supported either on the 400 gig, the DD cards. Let's take another family of features directly dependent on the hardware, the timing functions, syncE, and all the flavors of PTP. It is supported on the 5501 SC, but not on the 5501. Actually, with the exception of the 5501 SC based on Qumran-MX, none of the systems powered by Jericho support timing. It's only on Jericho Plus. We have it on the 55A2 mode systems, A136H, 24H, 24Q, or 48Q6H. In the chassis, it's mandatory to use 2 RPEs first, and then it is supported on the 36 by 100 gig SC and the 2 mode line cards. It will also come on the DD line cards, but it will be later on. So, is it getting a bit clearer? We are covering the portfolio left and right using different angles of comparison. Let's try another one. For some specific use cases, the size of the system is very important, particularly the depth. So let's sort the routers by size, from the smallest depth to the largest. The smallest routers we have are the 55A2 mode systems, 28 centimeter deep. Then with 55 centimeters we have the 24Q and 6H, the 5501 and 55A124H. With 68 centimeter deep we have the 55A1 and 48Q6H. With 76 centimeters we have the 5502, 55A136H, SC non-SC, and finally the chassis, 8, 4 or 16 slot. They are all 88 centimeters from the line card ejector to the fan tray handle, but for the Jericho based line cards, Jericho 2s are a bit larger. Okay, that was a very long one, but I'm sure you understand what we try to do. We receive all these questions on NPUs, on port density, on features, on size, and we try to gather all this knowledge in just one single place. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section, and see you very soon. The 55A124H is powered by 2 Jericho Plus NP.